I'm Lee and this is my podcast about my handmade life. You can find me on Instagram as Louleigh_, on Ravelry as Louleigh, and I have an Etsy shop where I sell knitting needle cases and notions cases and pencil cases at Shop Louleigh on Etsy, and you can find links to all of my online places at louleigh.com. Welcome! It's really nice to sit down and have a little chat with you. Today I am wearing a cardigan that my mother knitted before I was born. Yeah, so not much to say about that. I have no idea what the yarn or the pattern was. There will have been a pattern because that's how she knits. She always follows a pattern. But yeah, so this is inherited knitwear. I don't know, was it inherited or stolen? I might just have pilfered it. Actually, that's not quite true because it used to have a collar and she adjusted it for me, so I must have asked. You might notice that I have the ironing board left set up over here, and that's because I am currently working on some limited edition autumnal bags, which I'm super excited about. However, they're going to have a waxed canvas base on them to make them really lovely and sturdy, and I like to keep the waxed canvas as flat as possible because you can really see any crumples in it. It does get a little crumpled as I'm sewing it and working with it, but anyway, I've left those out so that all of the bags will stay nice and flat there. I sew them together in long strips, so I've already attached the fancy fabric to the base, and then they need to be top stitched, and then I'll cut them apart into separate bags. So yeah, that is why my ironing board is still set up over there. This is community news, and I just wanted to mention that the Advent mini skein swaps are closing on the 1st of October, and I'll pair everybody up to do the last swap for the year, and I'm super excited because my quarter 3 swap arrived yesterday, all packaged up really neatly. So we just have one more swap to go for the year, and then we will be all set up for our advent calendars in December. And keep in mind that this is just a mini skein swap, so if you aren't preparing an advent calendar, then you're still welcome to come and join in. So we also have Knit 1000 Grams running along, and it's so nice to see many of you who have joined in before come back, and some new faces in that chatter thread as well, and to hear about your goals. I was watching Ange from Yarn and Yarns, the Yarn and Yarns podcast this week, and she has cast on a Knit 1000 Grams sock tube. So I've decided to do the same thing. I have recently finished my last sock tube, and if you've been watching for a while, you know that I like to have some really simple basic knitting on the go for when I'm out and about or when I go to the cinema. And so I have decided to cast on this ball of self-striping yarn over here. This was a gift from Rose from Akara Yarns. She gave it to me quite a while ago, and I think this was her first ever self-striping experiment, so I have been hoarding it because it's special. But I've decided that it's a really sort of Christmassy colourway. I don't know if I'll have them ready for Christmas this year, maybe next year. But this is going to be my Knit 1000 Grams tube. Yeah, so I shall just cast on 60 stitches and knit a tube until I run out of yarn, and then I'll cut in the heels and toes and cuffs. So I'm really excited about that. I think this is really cute. What did she call it? I'm not sure if she gave it a name. No, it's just a one of a kind. But it does remind me of biscuits and candy canes. usually Knit 1000 Grams finishes at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival and I buy a nice goodie to send to somebody. However, in 2020 there isn't going to be an Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and so there isn't going to be a Rabbi's breakfast meetup, and Knit 1000 Grams is not going to finish with all that glorious community. So I've been thinking about having some other Knit 1000 Grams meetups. I'm going to be in London in December, and I was thinking about going to Edinburgh, partly because I like visiting the yarn shops there. So yeah, I'm thinking about going to Edinburgh at the end of March and still having a Knit 1000 Grams meetup. That would be lots of fun. And actually I'm going to be in New Zealand in January as well, so if you're interested in a Knit 1000 Grams meetup between now and the end of March, and you're around and about some of those locations, then pop over to the episode thread for this podcast and let me know and we can organise something. Over the last few months we have also been enjoying the magnificent Louleigh yoke along. I can't remember when I started that, it might have been when I cast on my Guthrie cardigan, but that was supposed to come to an end on the 19th of September, and as I'll be podcasting the day after on the 20th, I've decided to end it there. And I also thought it would be quite fun to give away a copy of the Tin Can Knits book Strange Brew which has a series of yoke patterns and also has some information about designing your own yoke. And so I'm just going to give away a copy of that on the 20th of September in the Ravelry group, because it's been so much fun. I really enjoyed seeing everybody knitting their yokes. I had thought that I would have time to knit too, and that's not been the case. I have been knitting away on my Guthrie cardigan, and I'm making this out of some yarn from Ginger Twist Studio in her Sheepish DK, and the West Yorkshire Spinners Blueface Leicester in their DK yarn as well. And this is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter, and she's not a designer that I follow, but I had noticed on this week on Instagram that she has had an altercation with some of her followers, which is really disappointing to see. And I did pop over to her Instagram feed and noticed that she has posted an apology, and I know that many of you have been really enjoying her patterns and have felt the same sense of disappointment in what's happened. And so I kind of hope that the apology is the beginning of some learning and something constructive. I don't have any immediate plans to knit any more of her patterns, but yeah, it was just disappointing. It did make me think though that this is a good time to talk about a change that I've made to the way that I use social media. I try to be quite mindful about the way I use social media. I want to lead it rather than it leading me. And one of the things I've done over the last couple of months is actually to unfollow pattern designers unless I actually have a personal relationship with them. Yeah, so I've unfollowed quite a lot of people. I had noticed that following designers on Instagram was changing the way that I was choosing patterns and being excited about new things that I wasn't completely comfortable with. Before I joined Instagram, I used to go on to Ravelry and I would choose a pattern based on my own interests and my own aesthetics and yarn that I was excited about, and I've noticed that since I joined Instagram I've been much more driven by what's exciting right now and what people and what designers are posting right now, and I spent a lot of time wafting around the internet looking for yarn for patterns that 5 minutes ago I never intended to knit. So I wanted to go back to my old way of working, where I would go onto Ravelry and select patterns based on my own requirements and my own interests. I'd also noticed that I wasn't selecting as diverse a range of designers. Yeah, I was just going with whatever cool thing. I'd started to just tend towards going with whatever thing designers that I was following on Instagram was posting. And yeah, like I say, I just wanted to go back to my old way of doing things, of looking up patterns based on my own interests and requirements and trying a more diverse range of designers. This is the socks segment, and apart from working on Guthrie, this is pretty much all I have been doing. Since I saw you last, I have been finishing off my tube socks, and so this was a tube that I made using a sock blank from a Fine Fish Yarns, and then I used this blue is Eden Cottage, and I've forgotten which base it is and I haven't written it down either, but anyway it'll be on my Ravelry page. If you follow the link from the show notes, it'll be on there. And I managed to get 2 pairs of socks out of my tube, which will appear here. However, 1 pair has already found a home. I've been finding that when I knit socks like this, you know, just socks in all different sizes and pop them into my gifting basket, that they often do find people who are needful of socks, and go off to find new homes quite regularly. So that's a really nice thing. It's always nice to just, you know, when someone just needs a little bit of comfort, to have something you can just pop in the post to them. So yeah, 1 pair has already found a new home, and I'm sure these won't go unwanted for terribly long either, so I'm really excited to have finished those. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be casting on a new sock tube soon. I have also been working on a pair of Hairy Man socks, which I think you've seen before. I finished the first sock here. There. And you can probably hear Marshall scratching on the couch trying to make himself comfortable over there. So that's what that weird noise is. And I've started on the leg of the next sock. And this is some trekking yarn. So that's the heels and toes. Oh, I can't find the label. I think it's trekking. That I've had in my stash for a really, really long time, and then I'm just using an opal solid to do the heels and the toes. So that is the next pair of socks that I want to finish off, and that is pretty much everything that I have been working on regularly since I saw you last. So I think my focus until next time is definitely going to be finishing off my Guthrie cardigan. I'm just at the point where I need to reinforce the steek and then knit the button bands. So I should have it to wear on the next podcast. That would be awesome. I'm also going to work on the Hairy Man socks and get those finished. I guess I'm still on a little bit of a sock whip down. Yeah, And I want to finish off the fractal spin that I showed you 2 or 3 episodes ago. So yeah, I have some really exciting spinning equipment coming. So I'd like to get that one off the wheel so that I'm sort of free to play with this new thing, which I'll tell you about when it arrives. So it's been really nice to sit down and have a little chat with you today. It's been a super short episode. It feels like it's just whisked by. I guess that's what happens when you focus pretty much on one project. Anyway, it's been lovely to have a chat with you. I hope you'll come and join us in the Ravelry group and chat over there. If you're interested in a Knit 1000 Grams meetup, please pop over to the episode thread and let me know. And I shall chat to you again soon. Cheerio!